What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into the Bear With Us podcast. As you can see, the threesome is no more. It is myself, Frank, joined by the homie Nas. Jack is on some daddy duty. He did have a few things that he wanted to make sure that we told you all, which we will get to. But listen, y'all, we're feeling good, man. The Bears are on the rise just a tad bit. We might be sipping a little bit of Kool-Aid here. Nas, how we feeling, man?
I mean, second victory Tuesday in a row.
Yeah.
The LFG.
I know it's I don't know sometimes, Nas, whether to be like happy because it happened or like embarrassed, but they're like, it's the first time they've won 2 games in 3 years. It's just like, come on, man. Like, why are we this way? But it's like, the thing is I did appreciate a few weeks ago, there was, the media really likes Dan Campbell, I think rightfully so, but I forget what game it was that they won, the Lions won, and he was like, don't feel bad about wins. No matter how we got there, they're too hard to come by in this league. And I think like, even as a fan, it's like, I know we're going to do a little bit of nitpicking today. I think there's big decisions that need to happen that we have to provide context for people who enjoy listening to us. But at the end of the day, still be happy about your favorite team winning. Let's not be miserable the whole time. And like, I don't see how people, can't be happy here, especially because it wasn't a fluky win. Like as we, today and future episodes and in the offseason, like really dig in and like the Eberflus era and should he be hired or if he is fired, whatever. Like the one thing I can say is like the wins haven't been fluky. Like that's the nice thing is that we're not being tricked here.
I
it's
mean,
like
we beat their ass yesterday.
That
like, it wasn't like
yeah, and that's what I mean. And most of the victories in his while he's been head coach have been that way. It's been like, all right, like there might be a little something here. Maybe people are starting to progress here. Obviously, the defense is on the rise. It wasn't like we're winning these fluky 1-score games and we're in the situation where it's like, well, does Eberflus still suck? But we're like a 9-win team. You know what I mean? Like, so all that said, I mean, both sides of the ball, especially in the second half, played pretty damn well. I mean, what were just some takeaways, Nas? What were you thinking as the game went on? What were you thinking as you had a chance to digest it? Like, what were some thoughts?
Okay. I want to preface this with I want to start this with 2 things. One, you've been saying it for weeks. We are not having the conversation about replacing Justin if we don't have this first pick.
Yep.
It couldn't ring more clear this week. And because of that, and I have not changed my mind about Justin and as a Bear. And this week did lay out a scenario and a formula of how you win with Justin.
Mm-hmm.
If we did not have this first pick and next year was like the year where he's playing for the extension, there is a world where if he plays a clean game the way he just did, where he can win a lot of games if he plays that way. So my biggest takeaway is, man, if this guy can just not turn it over,
yep,
we're going to be in every game. We won't get blown out if he just takes care of the football, man. And the defense, the defense just looking, you want to talk about a trickle down effect. Montez Sweat's impact on this team cannot be overstated. Cannot. It's helping everybody along the line, and that is helping the linebackers, and it's helping the guys on the back end. And Kwani B, 17 tackles from the back end there. Not bad. What about you? What do you got?
Yeah, man. I mean, a lot of sentiments is you doubling down on the Justin statement. That's why I've said that. It's because you think of last year in that insane stretch that the offense had was just like him being magical for a 6-game stretch. And it's like, you can't tell me if the defense just wasn't average, they don't win some of the, obviously you like what you had because you get the number 1 pick. All the butterfly effect that came from that is why we're in the position we are now. So you don't take any of it back. But I always thought there was a formula with him at quarterback. And it's kind of why I've always said, like, it's not that I don't care about picks. I care about picks and they're frustrating. But I want to live and die with the quarterback. And part of that dying had come from a lot of fumbles. The interceptions are a little bit more acceptable to me because if you're trying to make a play, quarterback makes a good read on you, whatever, cool. It is what it is. Go get him next time. The fumbles are, inexcusable. And the fact that he didn't turn the ball over at all, just sort of, it's because he's had better performances than this. Last year, he's had them this year. But this is a total complete game, which is why to a degree, not a large or small, it's just to a degree, quarterback wins can be a little bit a little overrated. Now you have to sort of pick. They don't become overrated when you pick through and say, well, he turned the ball over 3 times this game. That's probably why they lost the game. You know what I mean? You have to go almost like win and loss by win and loss to see like who really, whose fault it was. But man, to your other point, Montez Sweat, man, this is sometimes you just have to live in hindsight, unfortunately, because a part of a GM's job is, Washington's scheme isn't the exact same scheme that the Bears run. Same thing with Gervon Dexter. He didn't run the same. He didn't play that position, and he wasn't asked to do some of the things that the Bears are, but they're projecting him to do something within this system. So when people go, well, he's never had a 10 sack this and a 10. I've always saw the talent with him since he's been drafted, so I was very excited about it. Just to have, it was more or less like just to have a professional pass rusher there because we just didn't have that right now.
Oh, he's a dude. And he's a guy who jumps off the screen.
Yes.
You notice him every play.
Yep.
Loved how we're moving him around the line, never really giving different looks to the other O line. Yeah. Now now really seeing him in a system kind of designed around him, it's palpable the impact on the team play to play.
And that's my whole point is I know in the moment people, and I saw it on both sides, mostly on the negative of you can't give up that much and the contract. Oh my God. And then I saw it on the other end too, where it's he's fucking you. He's the best defensive end in the league. And it's let's relax. But again, it's hard to judge things. People want to be so reactionary and in the moment. And sure, I've always said, even if it was a little bit of an overpay, sometimes you have to overpay for talent. It just is what it is. We can get into the weeds and debate, who's worth it or when it's worth it or not. But at the end of the day, that's how you acquire talent when you don't draft it. That's always the case.
And you got to pick players. The Khalil Mack trade, first glance, you probably are okay, we got top 3 defensive player in the league, but the Raiders are set up for the future. And then what did the Raiders do with those picks? And now that trade looks like a slam dunk. Of course we would trade for Khalil Mack in that scenario. There's no story that you hear well, this guy on the Raiders, 3-time Pro Bowler, acquired in the Khalil Mack trade. Those guys don't exist. You still got to pick the player. So it's if you get the impact guy and he's playing at this level, it's worth it every time. It really is.
No, 100%. And listen, man, that touchdown run by Justin Fields, it's not even to tout him at all. We know what he is as a runner. It's to be expected for him to make some plays, every single week with his legs, impromptu. But what made it possible is the first round draft pick of your Chicago Bears going up against Aiden Hutchinson and absolutely owning him all fucking afternoon to a point where, Nas, the reason that was made possible is because Aiden Hutchinson got so frustrated that he stopped setting the edge and he went inside. He stunted inside to get, I don't know who, if he went for the guard or the center, but as soon as Justin then saw that, it looked like it was one read. Oh, Aiden's not there anymore. I'm gone. And it's all set up because of how well Darnell Wright had been doing on him all day. That was phenomenal, man. I love to see it.
You really do.
These dudes. Really do.
I like the selective running for Justin, and I don't know if we want to get into this at all now, but the selective running is where it ultimately has to go. Being wise with your choices on when to go. The design runs up the middle. I could live without those. Getting him on the perimeter, if it's not there, go out of bounds or throw it. I don't need to see him take hits. It's definitely, and it's actually in his limited sample size. Do you want to guess what Justin's average rush yards per game is in his 9 victories as a Bear?
In the 9 wins, 7.5.
Oh, you're talking about yards per rush. I'm talking about per game.
Oh, per game. I'm sorry. I thought you said yards per rush. Average yards 68.
40.
Oh, low, much lower than
I thought. In the 9 wins, it's 40 yards per game. His top 8 rushing performances as a Bear are all losses.
Yeah.
I think that's telling. We love the explosiveness that kind of put him on the map that we saw last year. But there's film on that now.
Yep.
One, he's not the days of him getting multiple 60-yard rushes for touchdowns in a season, those days are over. We're not seeing those again. The film is out there. So having him run that much is, one, it's putting him at risk, and it's actually proven to not necessarily be, it's proven to not be necessary to get wins. Those 40 rush yards a game, and then the average rush attempts in those wins is 9 rushes.
Wow.
Not 15, not 18. Because and I think that is right on par. If you look at like Mahomes or Allen or any of their all-time performances, you will see that those rush numbers are not what you think they are. And do you want to know what the average passing yards are per game in those wins by?
In the 230.
168.
Oh, wow.
So we think of Justin as this baller, and he actually may very well be. He might develop into that. Right now, if we're trying to win games with Justin, the game manager version of him is actually what is leading to victories. Like the explosiveness, yes, you love to be able to have it. I think it's a huge part. It's a huge part of what makes the great quarterback special. But also staying on schedule, keeping the chains moving. This is something that Mahomes definitely showed last year, and you can still see it this year. It's just his guys aren't catching it as often. It's what Tom Brady did his whole career, what Aaron has done a lot of his career, just keeping the offense in the flow, moving the chains, and keeping time of possession. We've jumped up the time of possession ranks substantially, by the way, in these last 3 to 4 weeks.
Good. As they should have. I mean, because that's the thing that's frustrated me about Luke Getsy, forgetting the fact of the screens and some of the predictability. It's like the Bears have a really good running game. Stick to it. That not only does that allow, I mean, we know what the offensive line loves it because they get to be aggressive, but then that opens things up because what you're talking about is forget the fact that the 60-yarders are probably gone because they have film. The threat of it is still there, though. Defenses still have to plan for that. So now use that to your advantage as an offensive coordinator and set your whole team up for success because it can be done. I mean, we're just going to weave, for those listening, we're just sort of in here talking. You know what I mean? There is no rhyme or reason. But getting back a little bit, dude, I have never been more in on Ryan Poles than I am right now. His draft picks, dude, are making such an impact. Tyreek Stevenson continues to get better. Gervon Dexter has seemingly been unlocked. He's been the second best rookie defensive tackle behind Jalen Carter, and he's closing in on those metrics with the more reps that he gets. Montez Sweat has completely unlocked his game on the inside. I know Jalen Johnson is not one, but I'd be remiss to not involve him. He needs to be paid. Like, it just point blank, period. Pay the guy.
Jesus, yeah.
He's balling. Brisker, you've already mentioned him. 17 tackles, playing in the box heavy, doing very well. And then some of these free agent signings. Edmonds is continuing to ascend. He's. I know he started off shaky, but TJ Edwards is balling. I mean, you look at his stats, in little out of context, of course, but you look at his stats right next to Roquan's, and it's the same player. You know. So I mean, the way he's building this thing right now, and again, bringing up Darnell Wright again, I don't see how you can't be encouraged by him. I know people killed him for the Claypool thing. It's indefensible. But it's like
you miss on things.
That's what I was just gonna say.
On dudes, you're gonna miss.
Everyone misses, and that's why the reason why I've not jumped ship with him. With the only caveat being is this is Kevin Warren's ship now. If that's his thing, I'm gonna have to rely on him. But if we're just evaluating, it's because I do like his philosophy. I like his general philosophy. It reminds me a lot of early John Lynch when he got there and he's making some boneheaded mistakes, but they stuck with them because they knew he was the guy. I think the same of Ryan Poles. So I've never, and the other thing is the Eberflus. You can't. I mean, it's if you're out on him, Poles is the guy that hired him. I get it. Another thing that is what it is. But again, it's something that I don't think has been brought up when you've been here. The one thing that I always say is at least from a fan perspective, from a media perspective, it is generally accepted that some managers are here to just rack up losses. We're building talent and we're gonna get the next guy to come in. Again, I don't know how blatant those conversations are as a GM to say, hey, look, I need to tear this full thing down. Whatever guy we have in here, hopefully he's a good culture guy to make sure this locker room is together. But when I feel like we're ready to win, he's gone and in come Jim Harbaugh or in come the guy that I think can be what Matt Nagy was supposed to be. Roster's here, take him. Let's win it. Let's win a ring. Again, I don't know how blatant those conversations are, but it's clear as day that it happens because you hear former GMs speak of things like this, former coaches, and it's like, it is what it is. So, I say all that to say, like, it's hard for me to even hold Matt Nagy because what if that was the case? What if that was like first guy here is what it is? Where if we can win with them and he proves to be great, awesome. If not, we're gonna move on because I'm gonna infuse this program with some talent. So again, I don't forecast my mind being changed on Ryan Poles. I don't think there's anything else that can happen this year that would make me want to get rid of him at the end of it.
No, yeah, I think he's done a good job. I think the one thing he's got to get a little savvier with is what he's releasing to the press. The whole we have to be blown away by the draft evaluating process of the QBs to move on from Justin is absolute horseshit. It's absolutely his team trying to say this is not, if you want Justin, you're going to have to pay the price. We're not moving from this is classic posturing, but he's done this a couple times. It's a little too obvious. It's like, let's, be a little more calculated, will you? Like, I know you're putting this out yourself.
I feel your side, but I also, the other side of it too is like, I also think you're building value for the number one pick. I think you're like building value for both.
Yeah.
I also, the other thing though,
we can't trade this pick though. We can't 2 years in a row.
I know, but this is the thing though. Everything has a price. Thinking of what they got, let's just say the Raiders have like the fourth pick, and they say, we'll give you Max Crosby, 3 firsts, some seconds. I mean, that's all. I'm not saying you take it. I'm just saying there's going to be some fucking offers. They're going to be regardless of, unless you're like out on Justin, like dumpster juice in the trash, like we were with Mitch, there's going to be some fucking offers for Caleb Williams that are going to be very hard to say no to. Because the thing is,
it will be hard, but I mean, it's the most critical position.
Agreed.
And you're getting a rookie deal on what looks like a playoff ready defense to have his back. Like a good running back tandem, a line that's developing on both sides of the ball. Like it's a little too perfect for a young quarterback to come in on.
Yeah. The other thing,
especially one that gets rid of the ball like Caleb.
But okay, but no, and this isn't me refuting or pushing back, but I'm just saying let's continue to unravel. Let's explore this. What if because the thing that I neglected, because I'm more in line with you. If we have the number one, I think you got to, right? Like unless Justin just somehow in the next X amount of games, just like, man, for sure. I just think it's a little too late for that. But the one thing that I neglected to see on the other side is you're not necessarily taking yourself out of position for a quarterback next year. You probably won't have the number one pick again, but you're going to have multiple firsts. I know the trade up and everything, you're getting into that territory, but you're going to have multiple firsts again next year with the team that's seemingly not going to be great. I mean, I know the Texans sort of disproved that. CJ, the Cardinals thought that they were going to have another high pick, but CJ Stroud has done his thing and they're winning. But you're going to have a lot of picks to play with. If you fill more holes with the draft capital you get this year and free agents, you may be able to kick it down one more. That's just the other argument. I'm not saying I necessarily agree with it, but someone did present that, and I said, you know what? That's I think the more responsible way to look at it. If you say, you know what, Justin, this is you now, like, again, who knows if it's ever said this way, but like now here's no excuse. Here is Marvin Harrison, and here is the best tackle or the best center. Like, go and really prove it. If not, you're gone. We're letting you obviously miss out. You miss out on trading, getting any trade value from him, but it doesn't necessarily take us out of the future quarterback thing.
Let's say we kept Justin next year and he walked away and signs with another team. Do we get a compensatory for that?
So compensatory isn't it based off of how much you spend versus how much you had to let go or people sign out? So I get a little confused with the compensatory because there was the one of the bigger mistakes that Poles made in year one was his signing of Pringle allowed us to not, like, negated a 3rd round pick that we were going to get because I forgot who left. I'm blanking on who.
Right.
On who. So there's like some give and take with it.
I think it has something to do with you offering a player an amount and then taking another offer and walking away from the team.
Maybe you're right.
I think it's got something to do with that as to why you would get a compensatory pick. But because like at the end of the day, I don't know want to dig too far in this because I don't think it really has any chance of happening. But if he were to be here next year and played at a certain level and we lowballed him on a deal and didn't franchise him and he chose another deal, I'm pretty confident we would get a compensatory for that.
Yeah, they may. I do. I mean, it's sort of like the bird rights in the NBA. I get like my head spins when I start to try to understand exactly what goes on with that. I just wait till the aftermath to know like who got compensatories. But those are valuable though because those compensatories got the Niners Christian McCaffrey. They used, I think, like 2 or 3 of them in that deal, and those weren't even for losing free agents. That was for the equity. What is the to get more minority coaches? They
the Rooney Rule.
The Rooney Rule, and they were getting compensatory picks for having a diverse staff. So they were like very strategic in doing that. That was So they've proved to be very valuable. Yeah, I mean we're sort of naturally gravitating towards the Justin Fields conversation. Again, I'm the same as you. I don't think either of us are necessarily down on him, but they have the number 1 pick. Like it's tough to not have the conversation. But it did make me realize that the turnovers are the biggest thing for him. It's taking that game and other games that they've won or become very close to winning. Thinking of last year, he didn't turn the ball over very much, like or at all, and that's been his biggest issue because there's still some throws, and me, you, and Jack have our text up. We're going, oh, that was misplaced, that was a little late. But the thing is if you're not turning the ball over, you can live with that. Watch Jacksonville. You're getting that experience with Trevor Lawrence still, where it's like, ooh, that was a poorly placed ball, but he's not turning the ball over nearly as much as Justin has. So you can live with that because when one of the things that you said in the text, you were like, man, when it hits with Justin, it fucking hits, man. And that's the thing with young quarterbacks.
He's also such a gifted athlete, and it looks so smooth.
I know
that when he does things a certain way, there's a way it looks on screen that it's kind of Michael Vick-ish. It's kind of Lamar-ish where it's the way Josh Allen will just flick his wrist and it will go 50 yards. There's just something about it when you see it, and when it hits, you're just like, damn, that looked dope.
I know.
I mean, it's really about the timing of turnovers for Justin. He has been this is on his own doing. His percentage of interceptions in the fourth quarter is substantially high when you compare it to any contemporaries, any journeymen, anybody who's been in the league a while, the elite. Trevor Lawrence from his draft class. Justin's thrown 14 of his 27 picks in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And it's over 50. It's a third of his throws have been in the fourth, and over 50% of them are picks.
Yeah. I'm also wondering though, I wonder if there's somewhere, again, not to throw a bone, just to add more context to it.
50% of throws. My bad. Can I clarify what I said?
Go ahead.
50% of his total interceptions are picks in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. I would like to know as well, though, in comparison, especially to his own draft class and people who are around his age and such, how much of that is him being behind in the fourth and having to throw as much? Because we do know there are places he needs to get better at just as a pure passer. You get what I'm saying? Again, not to throw a bone, but I would wonder if there's any adjusted thing where it's when in situations when it's the defense knows you're throwing the ball, is he still that far behind some of these guys? That would be interesting just to know. I don't know if those stats are readily available.
All I have readily available is by quarter, and people I pulled were Mahomes, Tannehill, Cousins, and Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has over 200 more pass attempts than Justin and has 3 less interceptions. Kirk Cousins, huge sample size.
Yeah.
He's got, for reference, Justin has 240 pass attempts in the fourth quarter. And he's thrown 14 picks with those. So Trevor has 444 passes in the fourth. He's thrown 11. And I mean, they've been good this year, but overall, I would say he's probably been in similar game time situations. Kirk has been up and down. Sometimes his teams are good, sometimes they're bad. He's thrown 1,400 passes in the fourth. He's got 37 picks. So for reference, that percentage is about half of what Justin's is in terms of percentage. Ryan Tannehill, fourth quarter, He's got 1280 pass attempts. He's got 36 interceptions. Like, the rate is substantially lower to even average quarterbacks for Justin. Like, the timing of it has not been good.
Yep.
It has not been good.
Totally agreed. And that's, I mean, I think to my point is like, if you do not turn the ball over, I mean, to your point as well earlier of like, maybe the game manager, and it's, I don't even want to call it game manager. It's just like not as risky. Just play within it, because that has been my feedback for really like a year and a half now. It's like, Justin, you are too talented to feel like you need to hold the ball that extra second to get that extra yard. Just give up on a play sometimes, because that's when the worst things happen is when he just can't give up on a play. And that's what's led to a lot of these all the fumbles, and it's what's led to a lot of these fourth quarter picks. It's like, dude, like, you can live for another down. If you're talking about like a Hail Mary, who the fuck cares? But we know that it hasn't happened. We know what we see come these fourth quarters, that you're trying to do just a little bit too much. Take what the defense gives you sometimes.
Yeah, I also think, I wonder if this is what's going through Getsy's head. Maybe he knows some of these numbers, or some version of the numbers that we're talking about,
right,
in terms of being a little more risk averse. But like, his response to that is like, let's throw a screenplay, or throw a quick hitch where our guy's going to make a play. And it's like, that's okay, but Justin's got to make real NFL throws.
Yep.
Like, that's got to be part of the offense. Like, great example, Will Levis last night, man. Like, the guy he can sling it, and Vrabel is not afraid to let the O coordinator call certain plays. Like there's certain things to stay in the game that you just got to be able to do. We're not expecting to win the game. If we're going to win the game, we got to make these plays. And he made some throws last night, contested catches that were right on the money, right where they needed to be, with velocity. And it's just like, how often do we see Justin get put in a position where he's got to make those throws?
Yeah. Well,
not that often.
I know. And then the other thing, though, it's like you even go back to the Lions game, and it's like they've been talking about when Justin's back, like he has these 7-game audition, and it's like the not this past one, the one before that, and it's like you completely took the ball out of his hands in the fourth quarter. Like, you can't have it both ways. If we're gonna win with Justin, we need to lose with him too. Like, that was the biggest thing we asked for when Mitch was here, was like, just show us that he sucks. Stop trying to protect it.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, like, I also, there has to be, I mean, I'm thinking of, I know the NFL is different, but I'm also thinking of like when I would coach, I didn't like tie hands. It was like, if you're going to fail, now it's on tape and we can look at it and we can actually like go over what went wrong and what do you do in this situation. Like, I think that's sort of your point as well, is like, Justin, like, how often do you just trust him? Even if you know in the back of him, he can't make this throw. I'm not as confident he can make this proper read that I need him to in this full. Let it happen. Let it be on film now. Let him actually study it. There's only so much you can do without actually doing it and letting him fail. And then if he doesn't fail, that's something to build upon. Like, you have to, I mean, what it comes down to me is, it's the same way I feel about the prevent defense. That type of play calling and conservativeness only prevents you from winning. It's never going to get you to where you want to go, because you're going to lose anyway. You're already losing with the way that you're doing it. So why not actually go for the throw, go for the jugular, go for the win?
I think that kind of speaks to the lack of alignment within the franchise, because I don't know if you remember when the Niners hired Kyle Shanahan, they gave him a 6-year contract. When the Lions hired Dan Campbell, they gave him a 6-year deal. They go into those deals with the intention, like, yeah, we are going to suck, but we are going to get the most out of our players. We're going to develop our players. And this is going to be a 6-year journey where we are going to get to an elite level, and we are not going to win. We're not going to worry about wins and losses early. Poles has come in, and I think he has been coming in with the mindset of rebuilding the team, and Flus is trying to save his job and win games now. And though the good thing for us is he kind of sucks at that. So, but you can see it in the game plan that, like, we're trying not to lose the game. We're trying to win the game. I'm trying to stack up wins in my coaching career. And it's like, no, we need to see Justin just fucking make these mistakes, man.
Yep.
And if we were really trying to develop this guy, that's what we got to see him do. And we lose the game, but at least we know what we got. How many
Yep.
times have we left games wondering, well, if we just put the ball in Justin's hands there, could he have made something happen? Like, maybe, maybe not. Sometimes
Yeah.
we don't know.
And then it's like part of me though too, Nas, with that being said, is like that should have probably happened last year. Again, like I know the way it all fell, they get the number 1 pick. It worked out in a way, but maybe it didn't. Because if Justin just proves last year that he's the guy, or just not the guy, like maybe they do get CJ Stroud, or hopefully Bryce Young he hasn't been great. But you know what I'm saying? Like I think you could have figured that out last year. In these situations where, I mean, that being said, like obviously what was around Justin was atrocious. You think of like the Miami game where he's rolling out on like 4th and 15, throws a fucking dime to EQ, who just drops like wide open and just drops like. So again, there's other things like, well, could he have continued to build that driving at a field goal or whatever? So things like that did happen, but yeah, I mean, last year when you had nothing to fucking lose, that was like the real time to just go balls to the walls. Like who fucking cares? You were probably gonna lose anyway. There was no talent on the roster.
Yeah, and it's just like. We're not thinking we're going to the playoffs. Like I wasn't thinking we're going to the playoffs last year. It's just like let the kid just sling it. At worst case scenario, we keep losing, which is what happened anyways. And he throws a bunch of interceptions, whatever. But that's reps, dude.
Yep.
Like especially in an offense that he's not comfortable in. So it's like, who cares? Let's get the more reps we can get him, the better. Peyton Manning threw 28 interceptions his rookie year. Think anybody cares about that?
Exactly.
No. Like, yeah.
And I'm sure Peyton's touched on it as well. Like that helped me learn. You learn through failure. Like that's the whole thing. And that's why I mean, like this year, we're certainly not going to see that anymore. They're a game back from the playoffs. I mean, they're not going to do. And again, that's why I feel like last year was the year to do stuff like that. Let him go out and be as bad as he can and build himself back up from that. And if he can't, then we know what we have in him. But I mean, that's the one thing that it would have been perfect to do last year because, and this is, I think it goes into one of the only other point that I wanted to make about Justin is like, we know he has resilience. Again, like we can pick apart things and things he has to still get better at, but the way he's handled this situation is vastly different than any other quarterback we've ever had. And I don't care what anyone thinks about Justin, whether they want him gone, whether they want him to stay. You have to applaud that because the locker room has stayed together. They still consider him the leader of the locker room. He's not fucking going around talking about we turned off TVs and we don't want criticism. As a matter of fact, he's saying the complete opposite. He's saying, I hear what's happening. I know what's happening. Like I hear the talk around it and I can't control that. I can only control what I can control. I'm going to keep. That's phenomenal. And the thing is like, we've heard people say that and maybe perform the opposite. I truly just look at the way he's continuing to play. Like I truly think he means that. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the other people, I don't think people who aren't from Chicago, maybe even some people in Chicago realize how fucking tough of a market it is to be a quarterback in this city. And he's handled it literally better than anyone. Like Mitch and Jay couldn't have been more different with that, but they still handled it poorly in their own ways.
I mean, I think it's kind of low-key slept on for Chicago media. Like, everything is under a microscope. There are so many outlets here. And people and I think, Philly gets a really big, has a really big reputation on this. And so does New York, but it's just it's hard to play here, man. It takes a certain human being to be able to zone that out. And Justin has looked really mature, looked like a leader. I can't say enough good things about the intangibles part of him. I think he's a really good kid.
No, totally agreed. And honestly, it's things like that too. I know people want to act like this isn't a workplace, but in the scope of him still performing well in the scenario in which he gets traded, that's taken into consideration too. We're already seeing problems with George Pickens in Pittsburgh. So if that becomes more of a problem, they have to trade him. That's going to be like a 6 and 7 swap just to take a flyer on a character guy. That stuff matters in whether people like it or not. And we see it in the NBA too. When you have character issues, your talent will still win out and you'll get other opportunities. But in terms of how it's still going to help the team, that is going to matter because if the next team, let's say he goes to Atlanta, or even stays here and there's a quarterback battle. If there's a quarterback battle wherever he goes, he's going to handle that with stride and professionalism. That means something. Versus we've seen quarterbacks in the past not want to do that or not partake or just totally downplay it. And it's been a disaster. It's not been good. I mean, you even think like, obviously very different, but even the way Big Ben handled them drafting Mason Rudolph, that wasn't a good look. That already caused divisiveness right then and there. That locker room loved Ben. But now you're saying, like talking.
I low key would love for him to go, and I would just be like so happy for him. I would love for him to get traded to the Rams and sit behind Stafford next year. And just like learn that system, because that play action style, zone blocking scheme system is what I actually think Justin truly needs to be in. Seeing crossers, using play action, like, and see what he can absorb from like a fucking pro that does that shit.
Yeah.
So, like I really think Justin would thrive with McVay. I really do. I would be so thrilled for him to go there. I would be, and I would root for him, man. I really would.
Oh yeah. I hadn't even thought about Seattle, but the Rams, but I feel the same way about Seattle. Like I feel like what they did with Russ early on, really leaning on the run, really leaning on the defense, and then like letting him be explosive in spurts. I mean, that's outside of the try. Like, Russell took care of the ball essentially his whole career prior to the last few years, but that describes Justin. Like I think they would be able to do something there too. And I mean, just him being around Pete would be awesome. Like his like Justin's personality and Pete's that fiery, like that would be great. I mean, but that's the one thing that I do really enjoy is I didn't see this with Mitch. I certainly didn't see it with Jay. Fans are like, whether they're out or not, they're like, he's a good kid, man. Like that's like, that has been really cool to see from the Chicago fans, because there seems to be, it's like rooted in this like realism of like, we rooted for him early and maybe I'm out now, but I can't say a bad word about him. He clearly works hard. His teammates love him.
He's tough, dude. That hit he took, I thought that was going to take him out of the game.
Oh, I know.
And he just got right back up. I was like,
but
oh my God.
The other thing, and obviously there's not much we can do about it other than complain, but how doesn't he get that call? That's absurd. It was like the first or second play of the game.
Yeah. There's a couple hits where one, when he was actually like, he was a runner and the guy led with his helmet. I was just like, haven't dudes been getting fined for that all year? Like,
I know. That was that the Vikings game where he was like getting whipped around and then hit helmet to helmet? Is that what you're referencing? Or was that?
No, there was a QB draw game yesterday, or draw on Sunday, where he had the ball tucked. He's considered a runner at that point, but the guy still led with his helmet and smacked him in the head and tackled him.
Yeah, I mean, it has been nonstop.
I don't think, like, I still think, like, even though he's a runner, you got to tackle with a certain level, like a certain pad level, and lead with your shoulder. This dude just went face to face with him and smacked him to the ground. Like, I don't think that's correct.
Yeah, no, it's been he is the least protected quarterback that I can remember. It's absurd. I think the last thing before we maybe talk about the Browns game is, I mean, where are you at with Matt Eberflus at this point? It's, we were totally out on him, and I don't, do these wins do anything for you?
They mean nothing to me. I think he has secured a DC job somewhere next year. That's for sure. Like the tape doesn't lie. The defense looks great.
Right.
The game managing is atrocious. The overriding, like what the OC is doing, like he clearly doesn't do that. Like you gotta be in the headset and be like, all right, we're playing the clock game here. Like I don't want Justin throwing the ball, or the opposite. Like we got to maintain possession here. Like let Justin make some plays here. Let him make some throws here. There's no overarching, like you don't feel his presence in every facet. And I just think that's like a huge no-go for me. I think we've been here for a season and a half. He seems like a good dude. The players seem to like him, but I don't think he deserves a third year. I think it's best to part ways. What about you?
That's still where I'm at with him. But taking away what we feel about it, I think he's like a win or two away from securing at least that third year. I think, and I think the way that it's going to be looked at is Almost like, remember when the Cubs had Ricky Renteria and things were ascending, and then it was like, no, here's Joe Madden. Here's the guy that we know. I think the Bears are in a similar situation. I think only Harbaugh can replace him unless things implode, which I don't forecast seeing. The talent's coming around nice.
Right.
Because the argument for it is, unless it's Jim, who you know exactly what you're getting, like there's no doubt about what Jim is going to bring as a head coach, you're really just kind of taking another chance with a coordinator at that point, unless there's like a retread out there that you like. But even then, it's like they're not.
Belichick.
We're in on Bill B?
You're like his number one supporter. You're not in on that?
No.
What?
No, absolutely not. I mean, because what has he done? What has he done to help develop the offense? Well, I guess it's. I have to separate the two. If he was just the coach, I'd be more in. But he has all the power in New England. Is he going back to being just the coach?
I think he's just the coach. He comes in here. He inherits a defense he's probably going to make better.
Yeah.
Okay, hiring an OC, yeah.
No, he's gonna sign Josh. He's gonna hire Josh McDaniels.
And you know what? That's not the worst thing in the world.
As an OC, I agree.
As an OC, it's not that bad. I'm just saying, like, that's a possibility, and I don't hate it.
Well, no, okay, but that still adds into my point. Like, I think unless there's a clear upgrade, you know what you're getting.
Yeah,
need I don't think they're going to move away from Eberflus because, I mean, some of the things you pointed out, the locker room is still there. And the one thing, I mean, we were texting about this, Poles, it looks like Poles was right and he wasn't blowing smoke. He truly felt, 4 weeks ago now, this team is closer than the general public thinks, and they're starting to put it together. So it's, I guess the other part that we'll never know because we're not in these circles is how attractive is this job in 2 years, 4 years, 5 years if they do continue to, I mean, like you fire, let's say he ends with 6-7 wins. You gave him nothing last year. So again, just throw him a bone. It is what it is. We know what we know this year. We're still frustrated, but if he wins 6 games, 7 games, and then the next head coach, like, are people going to be chomping at the bit to say, well, fuck, where is my measuring stick? Because this guy improved and he's done everything you asked him. He was a DC. That's what he's brought here to do, is like to fix the defense. Getsy was the offensive guy. Like, how, does that diminish you being attractive to a degree? There's only 30-something job, 32. Like, I get it. It's still going to be attractive, but I think there's a little bit at play there as well.
I don't think you're wrong, and some coaches may be thinking that, but I just think the allure of a marquee position like head coach for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
I just don't think it negates us from getting whoever we want in a when we have this kind of building foundation going forward.
That's fair too. No, I mean, it was just some thoughts that I had about it. I'm there with you though. I am out on Matt. I mean, if there would be a fucking way, I know, it's insulting to a large degree, but if we can just make him the defensive coordinator and bring a head coach in.
Literally.
I know that would be
like, it's only going to take this defense, as great as it's been. There is a definite ceiling on this style of offense. There are no frills in this defense. Did I say offense? My bad. I'm talking about the defense. There are no, like, it's pretty cookie cutter. You get what you get. And it's clear that it works when you can get pressure up front, which is not unlike a lot of other systems. But I just think we play an elite quarterback, we get diced up.
I know, and that's why that was going to be one of the points as we even talked about this defense ascending, is they still haven't dominated a good offense. Like, I know the Lions, but again, it's hard it's a divisional opponent. It's I don't know how much stock you always take. It's a little different. So down the stretch, I mean, you got the Browns with Joe Flacco. I mean, but you brought up a good point via text. Like, he's old, but he still knows what he's doing. So I think that is some barometer of, how things are. I guess my only pushback to it is he is a statue. Like, if we're able to get pressure, he's not going to evade anything. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It's like, how much physically does he have left?
Yeah. But I mean, in between the ears, he's clearly still got it. He's
going to know where the ball needs to go.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
Just a matter, will he execute?
Yep. So, I mean, dude, on paper, these are winnable fucking games, Nas. Browns, Cardinals, God. Falcons, and the Packers is the wild card. We never play them well, or we haven't in our lifetime. So, I mean, are we rooting for a little playoff berth here, Nas? Win out, and at that point, you certainly can't fire Eberflus.
I mean, I'm rooting for it.
Yeah.
And I think the Cards, one, are playing good football. They've been playing hard all year.
They have.
Kyler, despite coming off the ACL, he hasn't looked awful, and he's played pretty decent. The Browns are frisky. Like, people are looking at the schedule like these are wins. It's like, yeah, the sale, like, we could be disappointed this weekend. Like, as soon as this weekend, like it could be like all those dreams. Boop.
Yep. I also, and we're talking about the defense. The offense got a little bit to prove here too. This is a good Browns defense. I know they've had some games where they've given up a lot, but this is Getsy and Fields is like, show me something here. I mean, this could be it. I'm not saying necessarily for me and you, but let's say Fields goes out, tosses.
Healthy.
I know. I haven't seen any reports.
Yeah, I feel like he's like, if he's playing, like, that's enough to make me fearful that the game's going to get wrecked.
Yeah.
You know, like, he's that good. He's that guy.
Yep. And I'll tell you this: they better line him up against Braxton, because our right tackle ain't having that shit. You better line him up on the left.
I'm just
talking shit. I love Darnell, dude. He's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Darnell, you want to talk about, that's a hit. That's a hit right there. You love that.
I mean, so yeah, I'm right there with you. I think, like, let's just, as Bears fans, y'all, let's have fun. Let's root for it. Fuck it. Because like, this is the perfect season to do it. If they were to just sneak in 6, 7, they still have the number 1 pick. If things all go to shit and they're just like clearly show you against whoever they play in the first round, they're like, all right, this team, maybe they did a little something at the end. They're clearly not close to the Super Bowl. We got the number 1 pick still. Like, why? This is like the most insulated, bubble wrapped season that we can have, because it didn't really matter. Like, we can win out, and you know what I mean? Like, let's have fun with it. Yeah.
I mean, I guess your definition of fun is something we could talk about too, because like, for me, it's like, okay, like, we're starting to look good, but like, the last thing I want to do is look at the schedule and be like, oh, playoffs. It's just like, let's just put another good game together.
Oh, of course.
You know, like, sometimes like when like the feeling is like, oh, we're going to walk all over these next teams, it's like, it kind of puts some bad juju out there. It's just like, no, this is like this is a good team that's been fighting hard all year too. So, like, this is not like, I think the spread's like 3.5. Like, this team's gonna fight us hard, and
they're giving the Bears points.
Run the ball. I think the Browns are
giving the Browns points. Is this the first game that the Bears are favored this season? If they are favored, there's no shot they were favored at any other game.
Let me look. I'm pretty sure it's the Browns. Browns -3. Yeah.
Wow. This is, I think, the first game that the Bears are favored.
No, we're not favored. We're dogs.
Oh, okay. I thought you said -3. I thought you said +3.
Browns -3. So
okay.
Bears are +3 going in, which pretty much is like a pick 'em, because home field.
Home field is the field goal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's gonna be, I think Vegas is completely right. I think it's gonna be a low-scoring, close game, and maybe Justin can help those fourth quarter numbers out a little bit, little game-winning drive action.
Yeah. Listen, this is the game for me as it stands. Justin, show that you can continue to do what you did this last week. We don't need always 350 yards, 4 touchdowns. Like, manage the game, make the right decisions. We'll live with some of the off-schedule throws or poor play. That's fine. Don't turn the ball over. This is a really good defense that will take advantage of all of your mistakes. Relax. Take what they give you. Hopefully Getsy isn't throwing fucking 17 screens, because at that point, I don't care. Like, at that point, I'm tuned out on Justin, and I'm just like, this game's over because we're conceding already. But yeah, I mean, this could be a game in which we start to look at him again, whether you want to keep him or not. You need him to play well for trade bait, but maybe he's starting to put a little something together. But I'm right there with you. That's sort of what I meant. I'm not saying let's root for win all out and play. Obviously, we want that, but just to
Right.
go game by game and let's have fun with it. Like, I'm not to the point. Last year, I was actively rooting for them to lose. We need a better pick. We need to do, you know what I mean? Like, this year, it's like, yeah, let's have fun. Let's be a little, like last week, that first half, I was getting a little in. I'm like, fuck, like, we came, like, this is the first game all year that I really felt like, all right, we win this, we might got a little something here, So
Yeah.
it feels good to have juice in the game. It feels good to have a little something, as a fan.
It really does. Like it's nice. One, you can't take for granted, especially as a Bear fan, playing meaningful football in December.
Yep.
Like it's been a little rare over the last 15 years. So it's just like let's absolutely enjoy it, root for the team, look for them to get better, and hope for the best.
Totally agree. Nas, do you have a pick yet? Bears, Browns?
I don't have a pick. I'm going to take the Browns, to be honest.
I am too. This is a game where I need Justin because I think it's going to be close in the fourth, whether the Bears are up or down, and I need him to put the game away. And I don't know, given the things we've talked about with the fourth quarter, again, this could be a chance for him to start turning that tide. But given what I know about that defense, given the way the Bears defense is played, I'm expecting a dogfight in which both quarterbacks probably have to throw in the fourth. And unfortunately, I trust Joey a tad bit more. Maybe not a tad.
Yeah, I mean, it would be really nice to just see, pressure from the outside and Justin to just step up in the pocket.
I know, because when he does it, it's fucking butter.
It looks,
Nas,
yeah,
it's butter.
It really is. It just doesn't do it that often.
I know.
All right, yeah. I mean, this is gonna be a real test because like the Browns, like us, are a great rush defense, and if we're gonna win it, Justin's gonna have to pass it. I mean, and they're right there. They're right there with us in passing as well. They're right there. So it's gonna be a grind, man. He's gonna have to make some plays if we're gonna win it. He's gonna have to do it.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited about it,
and I'm just gonna root for my Bears.
Same, and I wanted to make sure that we both said that. I know Justin doesn't listen, obviously, but like, just prove us wrong. Just fucking get in there and do it.
Yeah, like I want good things for him. I want to see him like grow a little bit too. Like I want to see him make those strides.
Yep. Listen, if he fucking throws for like 425 and 5 touches, you're not stopping this Justin Fields train. I'm gonna be less rational the rest of the year, and I'm just going all out. So you better hope he didn't ball out too much, Nas, because I'm gonna be insufferable.
Frank, if he throws for over 250, I'll debate getting a Justin Fields jersey for you myself. Okay.
Oh, come on. I'll take that. I'll take, what is the over under for you? 249 and a half?
For me,
no, just for you. You said it, and I'm going over. Don't go crazy. Don't say like 500 yards, but like,
what I think an accurate over under for him,
it's usually like 170 something,
game,
right?
Yeah, it would be like 177. Like it's somewhere sitting in there.
Yeah.
And I mean, if we win the game, I would hope he's over that. But as I've stated, in Bears victories, that has not been his trend. His trend is actually below that.
I wonder if that reflects the defense taking the ball over too in those wins, because they win the turnover battle, and I would assume a lot of those wins shortening the field a little bit, letting them manage a little more.
Yeah, I mean. Fun fact, he's got 11 total touchdowns in those wins. And he's got 9 turnovers. So, like,
that's what I'm saying.
We probably are winning the turnover battle, but it's probably actually pretty close.
Yeah.
He's just a fucking turnover machine, dude. Like, I know the interceptions don't bug you, but, like, how often does he really push the ball upfield and then throw a pick? His picks usually look stupid.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Like, it's not the Andrew Luck, I am slinging it 60 times to keep us in the fucking game.
Right.
It's like, he doesn't throw it that much. And when he does, a high percentage of those throws are picks.
Yeah.
And it's not like a deep post pick or like some of them are sloppy.
No, they are. It's the fucking fumbles that get me. I hate, because I hated that with Jay too. It's like, dude, hang on to the fucking ball in the pocket. Just curl up, go to the floor.
Just hold on to the ball.
I know. That's the whole thing.
Turn it over. We are going to be right in the thick of this game and every game if we just don't turn it over. The defense is that good to keep us hanging around.
Agreed. All right, Nas.
All right, buddy.
Any last words before we get out of here? I feel like we covered it all.
Yeah, I think we did. I don't. What was your take on the Mahomes thing? Was that the most ridiculous story of the weekend?
I mean, yeah, I'm going to be honest. it's pure speculation on my behalf. He's still frustrated over the missed defensive pass interference against Green Bay.
Yeah.
Kadarius Toney was off. He lined up off sides. And they tried to say, oh, well, he checked with the ref when he was still in motion. The ref didn't motion anything. He didn't say yes. He was still running to his spot. What is the ref supposed to say? Yeah, I think you'll be good if you like. He doesn't know where you're lined up yet. And not for nothing, the right tackle was also lined up a yard in the backfield. Like he was off sides too. You can't. That's illegal. You can't do that, especially because he didn't check in to be a receiver. Like it's. Yeah, I to a degree get people saying like, oh, you just can't. The refs can't make that call, but it was the correct call. Like, what are we supposed to do here?
I mean, it's the rule. Like you can't like. And like I saw that Toney had lined up offsides like a few other times in the game. They didn't call it. It's just like, okay, that's on the ref for consistency.
Yes.
But the rule is the rule. Like, how far do you want them to be over offsides for the refs to have to call it? Like,
I know.
It's the line of scrimmage, guys.
I will say, though, in the same way that a false start deads the play, I think you have to on an off. So what's the point of letting that play go if they line up offside? Just blow it dead and you know what I mean? Because it's not even like this is exacerbated because Travis Kelce made an insane lateral play that got taken off and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe it was a flag there. But also just in the span of player safety, what if someone just gets concussed on a play that shouldn't have happened? Like, can we? You know what I'm saying? Like, that is really more of my angle. Is like that play is going to be blood. That nothing that happens after that snap is for sure. It's a wasted play. Why are we letting
a false start? Just call it.
That's what I mean. That's what I think needs 100%. To happen in those, because then you don't. I think that's the biggest. What if Kelce just drops the ball? Oh also, well, oops. Like
you know what Tony's going to do if he gets called? If that gets called on him like twice, like. It's going to fix what the real problem with the Chiefs is, which is undisciplined play by young receivers.
Yep.
Who can't catch.
But you know what, though? We won't explore it today. I know me and a lot of other people included saying it's Matt Nagy's fault, and it very well could be. But there's a particular somebody who's no longer there anymore, and this offense isn't looking good without him. Eric B. might have had some fucking sauce in there.
I'm just saying, if Eric B came to the Bears to help Justin or to help Caleb just throw the ball around the yard, I mean,
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Well, I mean, shit. Again, I know people laugh at Sam Howell, and I'm included, but he's looked more than competent for a good part of the year. He may not be ever a top 10, but he looks like a starter in this league, at least the back end one. And that's valuable because he's not, I don't think, the most physically talented dude in the league, like not even close. Like Eric B has to, share some success there.
I could not agree more. I mean, he's made Sam Howell look like someone you can somewhat depend. Like, you want to talk about like how there's no backups around the league. He's at least proven Sam Howell could be your QB's backup, if not a starter.
He's Gardner Minshew. Is he not?
I don't know. No one can be Minshew for me.
Well, no, I know what you mean. He has the allure. He has the allure to him. But I just mean like, and he's in that range of like.
Yeah, I think he really could be. You put a good team around him, you could we could put that guy in. He could maybe spot start for us and win a couple games. Like,
yep,
100%. And like, you got to give that credit to Bieniemy. He's put him in that position.
No, for sure. But it's always there's a thing with like Minshew. Howell, it's going to be fun it's going to be a roller coaster, but it's goddamn it, it's going to be worth the ride because win, lose, draw, it's going to be a fun fucking watch.
100%.
Entertaining 100%. Style of football. All right, Naz, thanks for joining, man. Go fucking Bears. Let's just do it. Let's just fucking reel it off and make the playoffs.
We need the Ditka soundbite. Go Bears!
Oh, I can get that. I have a few sounds and I need to get it updated. Most of them, mine and Jack's favorite sports movie is what is the Will Ferrell, the Tropic Thunders, the fucking semi-pro. So a lot of them are that. That's why I always end it with this.
Everybody love everybody.
Can you hear that?
I did not hear that.
Oh, okay. I guess only I can hear it. But it's the everybody love everybody drop.
Oh, okay.
I have to route it so you guys can hear it too. Why the hell? Oh well. All right, Naz. Let's get out of here. Let's root on our Bears. Easy. And if they lose, it's just going to be another like this was a calmer. It's not an event session. But next week, maybe another vent session. We shall see.
Yeah. All right. See you.
All right. Later, Naz. Later, everybody.